And that's where it really led to me. This led to some really embarrassing shit, and that was when I formed my first band. Now, any refrigerator members out there who are listening, be prepared for this story. And this is some total suck ass stuff, man. This was not epic, but I formed a band with some of my friends, and gee Louis, we really really sucked ass, and it was with Rodrigo Fireskull, who you've seen in my past videos, Starlight series, and vlogs, and one of my friends, and his name's Logan. He plays in a band right now. I think they play pop punk, and yeah, they're off doing their own things. I don't know what Rodrigo's doing, but I know that Logan plays in a band, and yeah, we formed a really crappy band. We would have some songs like I like some of the names. Like I had a song, "Pigs Can Fly." I didn't show it to them or teach them it, but I found it as a really good song, and like the idea of it, and I ended up bringing that to my band that I have now, and yeah, we would have some really really terrible songs, and I will show you some pictures of us when we did play, and you can see them popping up right now, and oh no, very very bad memories. We weren't good. And Logan, he didn't even play guitar for us. He would actually play the trumpet, and he wasn't even like a super passionate trumpet player either. Like I could tell that he wanted to do the guitar instead. And when you're not passionate about it, of course you're not going to be doing good at it. And I don't know how long he was playing, and I know that he said he tried to do the band and he quit, and that's probably because he wasn't doing well in it. And I kind of feel bad for just throwing him in there, like, hey, you're a trumpet player, just get the fuck in here. You're gonna play with me now. And Rodrigo, he was talking about getting a drum set because he wanted to be the drummer of the band, and well, he didn't ever get a drum set, and we would just play with a fucking practice pad, and oh no, that didn't sound good at all. And I don't know where it is. I think I know somebody who has the recording of us playing. And no, it was a big disaster. My dad was singing with us, and I didn't even know how to play a guitar. Like I think I would play chords that literally were this. Like I'm not even over exaggerating. That was the exact chord. It was just pretty much the open strings with the D octave on the 12th fret. It was terrible. And like the riff would sound like this. Like that's the exact riff. And I would use a technique where I would just like raise like my freaking knuckles on it like this on the guitar, and it would look like this. And I mean, honestly, I would probably still use this technique like as an original technique, to like kind of have that mellow sound. But before, I couldn't even like pick like normally, and it was like disastrous. And the song was actually called Jerry Garcia. It was a good idea, kind of, but it's just oh no, we couldn't even play together. Everybody was kind of doing their own thing, and the one part it just goes into a jam, and we didn't have like well communication, and oh no, it just everything was a huge mess and a huge pile of huge like donkey shit. And yeah, after a while, like everyone was like being lazy, and nobody really wanted to play. We would just hang out, or Rodrigo would probably be playing like FIFA on his Xbox, and yeah, we didn't really do much. And now I'm really like feeling bad because I just threw these kids in here like, hey, we're gonna be a fucking band, and I expect you to know what to do, even though you may not be as crazy and passionate as I am. I'm gonna throw you in here and force you to work. I was an asshole, and I didn't use my bass too much because for a while I'd be playing through my guitar amp, and what happened is when I kept playing through that, it kind of blew, and I couldn't use it, and I had no idea that you couldn't play bass amp through a bass through a guitar amp, and yeah, I was kind of upset, and I didn't play it for like 2 years straight, and then once I got my electric guitar, I was playing through there, but yeah, I wasn't using my bass, so I just come over and bring my guitar, and neighbors or people driving by, they would see us and be like, "Oh, play a song for us," and no, no, I'm not even going to go into detail with that. That is more horrifying than the Exorcist movie. It was the most horrifying, I say horrifying thing you'll ever see in your lifetime. It was not pleasant, and I feel like if you watch that or listen to it, you'd want to tear out your eardrums and rip your eyes out. It was awful. But yeah, the group, we kind of just stayed together until about, I would say about 6th grade, or the summer between 5th grade and 6th grade, and yeah, it was pretty inevitable that it would happen. We would just gather people, and nobody really wanted to do it except me, and now to this day I still feel guilty for just forcing people in there, even though they didn't want to, and just it's not the best thing for me to think about. But after that, I didn't really play with anybody. It would just be me back to playing in my room all by myself. But that changed after a while. So I was in middle school, and I would sit in the auditorium in the morning before we would go down to have school breakfast. My mom wanted to get to work early, so they dropped me off to school really early, and I would eat breakfast there because I would take a little while to get up, and I wouldn't have the time to eat breakfast, so I would just eat there. It's easier than just rushing and just like scarfing everything down. And sometimes the band would play, and I found it really interesting, and that's how I got really interested in orchestral music too. I really like watching people play, like watching all the parts. Like if you watch the Philadelphia Orchestra or watch John Williams perform, and just watching all the parts, like, oh, that's the sax parts, the flutes. You can kind of point out the bass drum parts or the snare parts and cymbal parts. I found that really interesting and really fun. But I still didn't really think I was going to join the band because I was like, the first time I tried, I got rejected. They didn't have bass guitar. But what happened was I was still friends with Rodrigo, and he told me to join. He's like really trying to tell me like, you got to get in band. I was like, okay. And the thing is that I didn't think they had bass up there. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to pick an instrument that they have there. Looking around, I don't want to do flute, and I don't want to. I don't know if I really want to do percussion. But I thought, okay, maybe we could do sax. Uh, maybe I could be Dexter Gordon or something. And yeah, I was thinking like, okay, maybe I could play alto sax, and maybe they have the instruments up there. And we called the band director, and well, it turns out that no, they don't like give the instruments to you, and that's kind of what we thought was going to happen. Yeah, you had to just get the instrument yourself. And saxophones, they're not cheap. They're not cheap instruments. I do play saxophone now, like after I started getting interested in other instruments, and yeah, I still kind of play sax now, but like not as much as bass and stuff. But I still find interest in it. And after that, I was just like, okay, okay. I had my hopes up too high, but whatever. And then I was watching them again in the auditorium, and Rodrigo came up to me again, and he tells me that they have guitar there, and I found that really strange. I'm like, guitar? And I'm like, if they have a guitar, though, maybe they have bass. And, you know, I was like, uh, telling to my parents, I'm just like, okay, maybe I want to try it again. I want to do bass. And then we call him, and then, it was just like, yep, okay, you can play bass. And I was just like, okay, this is absolutely radical. And about a week later, I came in with my bass, and, I was kind of scared. I'm just a new kid walking around there with a bass on my back. And then I go up to the guitar, and I'm just like, so you play guitar, right? And he's like, bass. I'm like, oh. Oh, of course. Yeah, Rodrigo got confused. The bass was the guitar. The thing that he thought was a guitar was actually a bass, and that's okay, Rodrigo. You're not a huge expert on this stuff, so I'm not gonna rag on you about this. So it's all okay, man. But yeah, we had a second bass player, and he really helped me out though. He was a really nice kid, and you can see him in some of the older videos. His name is Aiden. He's a really kind kid, and I am very thankful for him to be around to be there for me when I really sucked ass at music.